Hi, and welcome to Medical Malfunction. So happy to have you, and we're not alone tonight. We have a guest, Mia Carlin. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
We're so happy to have you. We're going to cover a really unique topic tonight, the one that no one wants to talk about. People won't tell you the truth, but we do that here.
Yes.
The title is Not Wrong. The question is, can you say the wrong thing to a cancer patient? And I
Yes.
say, Mia says yes too. So we
Yes.
agree. We're going to cover a few things, and the way we decided to do it was, the way I decided to do it, because I'm the boss of me, and sometimes I'm the boss of other people too. But for tonight, we're going to do it by audience, the people that we spend the most time with. We'll go in that direction. We're going to start with the people that we literally spend the most time with, our coworkers and our family, right? And then we're
Mhm.
going to go through a few other audience types, and then we're going to get to how we might communicate back when we really don't want to hit them as hard as we might really want to. And I mean this metaphorically, obviously, not literally. Hopefully, we're not doing that, right? So Mia's been kind enough to share. She had a real moment a couple of weeks ago, and she decided to use some art to tell her story and let out some of the frustration when people were really saying some stuff that maybe wasn't hitting quite right in that moment. So we'll get to that. She's going to share a song she made, and she's got some visuals to go with it. So you'll get to see some really cool uh, AI artwork to go along with the. She made a song, and it's pretty badass. So we'll get there.
Thank you.
Um, I'm really excited about it. So, we're gonna start with I'll call it some basic bitch examples, I guess, of, some of the wrong things you can say, and like I said, we would start with the people we spend the most time with, and that's jobs and family. So our coworkers and our family, obviously, that's your 9 to 5, and then it's your right after 9 to 5, the people you see every damn day. And yeah, they might get tired of dealing with your stuff, but they're not allowed to, right? Because we have to deal with it the most, huh?
Mhm.
So, I came up with a couple of examples of some of the wrong things you can say, and I know Mia's got a few. And some of the ones that were kind of shockers for me, well, this is true. The one that took me the longest to arrive at, and it actually came from family members, more than one, but regarding cancer diagnoses. So I wanted to start just giving a little bit of the background of our cancer diagnoses, because I said diagnoses, you notice that's a plural.
Mhm.
So I'll say mine really quickly. 2006, Hodgkin's lymphoma, and 2017, pancreatic tumor. So it's pancreatic cancer, but mine's the neuroendocrine type. And then 2024, spring, triple negative breast cancer. So, how about you?
Mine started in 2016, stage 3 ovarian cancer. And then it came back in 2018, still stage 3 ovarian cancer. And then I went through remission for 6 years. And then it came back in 2023, stage 3 ovarian cancer again. And I've been in remission for about 8 months since February, however long that is. And February of 2024, I was in remission. And then all of a sudden, it's back. So this is my
Oh,
fourth run with stage 3 ovarian cancer.
wow.
Yeah.
Well, at least you're
It hasn't
consistent.
even, yeah, right? Yeah, it hasn't even been a year that I've been out of chemotherapy and it's back again. So
Wow. Well, that is a run, and I would say listening to your numbers, your well, because I like to say, well, I don't like to say that's some bullshit. That so I've been technically a cancer patient now for almost 20 years. So 2026 would be 20 years. I mean, technically it would be longer. That's just from my first diagnosis. But then the
right.
diagnoses have been kind of all over the place. And as you heard, yours is a little bit consistent in staging
Yeah.
and consistent in type as far as okay, but it's and we're not talking about what we're talking about tonight is So now you know a little bit of our backgrounds, and here's some of the stuff that we have heard. So we're going to laugh a little tonight, and then you'll hear a little bit of the clap back. I'll call it a clap back. Why not? I'm cool like that. So
You are cool like that.
Okay. I'll just say that. Yeah. All right. So jobs and family. I'm going to start with that one. The one I wanted to start with that did not occur to me till probably right before Mia showed up today to talk about this stuff. I couldn't even believe it hadn't dawned on me. But the middle diagnosis, I don't believe you. That came from family. They didn't believe it. I'm thinking to myself, who makes up pancreatic cancer? Who does that?
Right.
That was
No.
one. That came from some really close family members, some clinical ones too. And I thought, that's a weird one to hear. I don't believe you. Oh,
Oh my God.
right.
Can I piggyback on that?
Yes.
I had a family member say, "Oh, you have cancer? Maybe that's what I have."
Oh, so they want to like, oh, yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, literally. "Oh, maybe that's what's wrong with me."
I did
Is
tell
that what's
somebody,
wrong with you? No.
oh, there's something else. There is something wrong, but it ain't that.
It
I
ain't that. Yeah.
I did try to take one of my coworkers to lunch and like sit her down and explain about the pancreatic diet. Now this one was she was a clinical person, not practicing, but I remember having this conversation with her, and then she started saying, "Oh yeah, I have a low iron," and I was like suddenly giving her advice about her low iron. That was pretty wild.
That
Oh, I
happens a lot with me too. Yeah. I tend to be the person that listens and talks to people about their ailments and their, their health issues, which is fine, right? But I never ever talk about mine. And
yeah,
and every now and then they'll interject with, "Oh, but I know you're going through something way harder."
do
But
you?
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
maybe that's an avoidance thing. Maybe it is. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know if they're maybe trying to relate, you know?
Oh, let's go with that.
That they're trying to relate by telling their story, which is fine. I don't mind listening to people's health problems. I know it's a give and a take in conversation,
Of
but
course.
when it's just their health problems over and over and over and over, and they kind of just dismiss yours
Hmm.
when you want to talk about it, and they just kind of like, "Oh yeah, but my health, my this, my that, my that," and it's like, okay, but I might be dying here,
Yeah.
and they totally dismiss it. They dismiss it.
It does
Let's
feel
be honest, they dismiss
yeah,
it.
minimized. Yeah, it does feel like a minimization. I remember that. And I especially found it odd from a very close family member, maybe someone who spawned me. And also, what was the other one? Oh, the other one was a clinical person. And I thought, you should know the difference, but yeah, but you never know. You handle these things in different ways. And I am very understanding of that. Um,
Mhm.
I did have another situation. Oh, yeah. I heard this one. I was sitting there for this one. So this was after the first diagnosis, treatment, and all that stuff. And I was a consultant for a long time, and I was at a company, and they just adored me, and were so sad that I was relocating, and they wouldn't be able to work with me anymore. And I remember one of my family members coming to the farewell lunch and saying something about I was going to get a procedure before I relocated because I loved my position at the time. And I remember that family member saying to my boss, saying, well, she's a hypochondriac anyway. I remember that one too because I thought,
Oh
oh,
my God.
my boss who hires me for things might still in the future, but also you don't get to call a cancer patient a hypochondriac, right?
No, no, never, never. Because the thing that the big misconception about cancer is that you don't beat cancer. There is no cure for cancer, people.
True.
It is something you survive. It
True.
always comes back. If it
That's
doesn't come back, you're one in a long shot. Most of the time, it comes back.
that's true.
It's not a matter of if it comes back. It's a matter of when it comes back.
Mm.
And people are constantly like, "Oh, you're a fighter. You beat it. You beat it. You're gonna beat it again." Da, 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 da. And I understand they're trying to be your cheerleader, and that's great. It's the way they say it and how they say it. Are they dismissive when they say it? Are they like, oh, you know, like, oh, it's like, like, oh, it's a cold. You'll beat it.
There's no cure for a cold either.
It's like,
And you're going to get another cold too. So they are not that different actually when you say it that
right.
way. So, but the difference is pretty much everyone gets a cold, and this is a little, more life-threatening. But the thing I would say about that is, I always like to point out to people a couple of things about that is that the side effects for pretty much every cancer treatment is cancer. And in fact, my most recent diagnosis, the triple negative part is the complicating factor. It's the bad factor about it. But the tumors themselves were pretty much the result of cancer treatment. And there's a whole lot that goes into that. So by the way,
Yeah.
so there is
I
some.
think that my cancer that has just come back up might be left over from what the chemo didn't get. I don't know that it's new cancer as much as it is the cancer that chemo didn't zap out.
Yeah, and after all that zapping, you're kind of like, hey, this really is ridiculous.
It's like, why did I even do it in the first place? You know what I mean? Like,
and then everybody wants to tell you, you're such a fighter. It's like, I'm tired of fighting. Come on now. Like, this is exhausting. How about you take a shot? Like, you do it. Do you do a couple of rounds? How about it?
Yeah, you do a couple rounds of chemo for me. And it's also what else am I supposed to do? Roll over and die? I mean, everyone's like, oh, you're so strong, you're so strong, you're such a fighter. I'm like, dude, I just did what my doctors told me to do. And there are days that I didn't think I was going to make it from that chemo run. There were days that I was like, holy cow, this is the end. This is my last day on earth. And then I woke up the next day and I was a little better. And I was like, oh, thank God.
Well, that's the other thing too. A lot of people don't understand that it's not usually the cancer that will do it. It's like the stuff that happens during the death. That's where you're at risk, being out in public, different things like this. So there's a lot to it.
That's
people
what
don't even know.
I'm not afraid of the cancer killing me. I'm afraid of the chemo killing me.
Yeah, it's pretty rotten. Like all the things that anyway, that's a whole other. So yeah, people really don't, they really don't understand. And so I want to say a couple more things about even going through the diagnosis and stuff like that. I remember with the pancreatic, and a lot, by the way, sorry for those of you who don't know about my pancreatic diagnosis. I stopped telling people. I did not tell a lot of people about that one anyway, because of the reaction I was getting. Because, when people hear pancreatic cancer, they go, oh, they know how bad that one is and how dire that one is. But mine is such an unusual one. Not unusual, it's becoming more common, but because it's like, well, why are you still here? Don't you have pancreatic cancer? You know what I mean?
My God.
Well, it's a certain type of one. It's like most comparable to like the Steve Jobs one, probably. Most people are familiar, but they're not really that familiar. So it's not the one that like takes you out as quickly. It's a little more slow. And but I don't have time to explain all of this and, whatever. And people, by the way, as soon as I said it, that was the one where so many people dropped out on me, like as far as friendships and all that stuff went. I mean, and then when I found out they were hanging out without me, they were like, oh, well, so-and-so, she's having some serious health problems. And my face was like, I'm on the phone. You couldn't see it, but it was like,
Wow.
What do you even say to that? We've been friends for decades, and I thought we were. And
Yeah.
They have this issue and whatever. But it's still like, how do you even respond? That's your answer after being like this tight for so long. But so that was kind of an interesting one. And I also got oh wow, you were fat and you were this, because I'd never been fat before that, but that was part of the issue in the going through the diet. There was all kinds of, and I'd lost my boy. And so I dealt with a lot of stuff. So I had somebody, I don't even want to get into some of it. It's so hard to believe that they said it, but even at my job, like, you should tell people, you should really exploit this condition. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. It's not me either. I heard that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had a friend, a long time friend, ghost me at my first cancer diagnosis in 2016. Ghosted me the entire year I had treatment, and then I saw her on my last chemo treatment, and she didn't make eye contact with me, but did tell me, "You just got sick at the wrong time, dude."
Oh, there's a good time for that? Oh, okay. Let me get my calendar, get my watch, and we'll make plans next time. I'll do better. Okay, good.
And then a lot
Weird
of people are
thing.
like, "Oh, you have ovarian cancer. Wait, you've had ovarian cancer 3 times, but didn't you get your ovaries taken out already? How can it come back if it how can it come back?" And I'm like, "Dude, it comes back in the same area, just attaches to different organs or
Oh,
different places of your body, but in the same area, so it's still considered ovarian cancer, even
no.
though your ovaries are gone." And I mean, I guess it's an easy thing to mistake,
Sure,
but
that's an educational issue, but it's
yeah.
maybe they could ask it a little differently, perhaps.
Right. Like, it's
That's
almost like they're
understandable.
doubting me, like, "Oh, are you sure it's ovarian
Are you
cancer?" Like,
sure? Do I need to carry around a doctor's now?
"Are you sure you got cancer again?" I'm like, yeah."
That's a wild one. Wow. Oh,
Yeah.
that is interesting. I have not heard that one before. Yeah, that is a wild one. You're right. Well,
And
I
the
guess
thing
it's
with jobs too is, like, coming back to a job after you've been out for a year on cancer leave, and
mm,
then coming back to a job, it's there's a lot of people who are really nice and like, "Oh, we're so glad to see you made it," and, they're thankful to see you, and they're very sweet, and they're very supportive, and then there are the,
oh, what's that like? I
huh?
would not know. What's that
I
like? I would not.
But then there are the ones, and it's not even the coworkers, it can even be the management that put you to a higher standard, that are harder on you
Mhm,
because you have this diagnosis, and they don't want you to take advantage of it, so
mhm,
they're even tougher on you
mhm.
and more, like, scrutinize you more
Hmm.
because you have, medical accommodations and things like that, and oh, man, it's yeah.
I've heard a lot of stories from different people, in different areas like that, for many different reasons. It depends on, but there's a lot that goes on with that for there's all kinds of reasons for it. And I definitely cover that a lot, in medical malfunction because, just because of where I've worked and the different things I've seen. From my own personal experience, I'll say that, the 2016, I'm sorry, the 2006 diagnosis. Oh my God, my coworkers were fantastic. I worked through the whole thing. I
Mhm,
really didn't take any leave. It wasn't like that. And because mine was a blood cancer the first time, that wasn't like I had a big surgery or anything to deal with. So
mhm.
it wasn't really like that. I had the hardest chemo, that they give. I basically had the hardcore and radio. I had all of that, but I just, and everybody was so wonderful. And then on the 2017 one, I just didn't say anything at all, um, really too much about it. And that more had to do with the fact that they weren't going to really do anything about it at the time, which was confusing to me until, like, to your point, it's like, wait a minute, what did I just hear? Because it was confusing to me. That pancreatic diagnosis took a while to figure out. That's a whole other story. And then well, I thought this has just been bizarre that they just don't say anything. Like, I've seen them treat other people differently, like do the whole thing like the way they treated me but yeah, it's a whole different ball game these days. It's just like, so yeah, I worked all of it. Just same thing, but for different reasons, I would say like that. But yeah, nobody really says anything. It's really odd. I mean, I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't really know how to think about it, but I just know all I know is like I have to live with myself as far as that goes. So I just am me. And so I've kind of handled it all sort of the same way and according to my own ethics, and I prefer privacy. But that's everybody's decision about how they want to do that. But the silence has been deafening. That's unusual. So
Yes.
as far as saying
Yeah,
nothing, that's very
yeah.
strange. I'm like, because I've like I said, I've seen the way that and I don't need a parade. That's not my style either. But this has been like they might as well say hurry up and die because it sounds like that. It's been odd. I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
so, all right. But yeah, my first experience was wonderful. Like, everybody was just phenomenal. But yeah, it's all over the place as far as family goes. I don't have one of those. That's pretty clear. We can just leave
Yeah,
that there.
most of my family's passed away, so I don't really have a whole lot of family either.
I hate to
I
say it, but
mainly
in
have
some
a
ways that can be easier and so, like
it's
versus the
kind of a blessing. I hate to say that too, but
oh,
it
well,
kind of
it
is
can
a
be
blessing.
like it's one of those where, we have, that one friend in common, and I always say, I lost mine differently than you lost yours. And that's
Yeah.
probably the best way to put it. But what will you do with someone who's like hypochondriac? You had hypochondriac, and I'm like, I'm on round 3 of cancer. What do you want me to do?
You know, my friend told me about a grave that she saw one time. She went. I forget where she went. I think it was out of the country, and this tombstone said, and it didn't say the person's name. It didn't say their date of birth or their date of death. It said nothing except this one thing. I told you I was sick.
Oh, I've seen an illustration of that, and I saved it. Lab Creature made that. I remember that. It stuck with
It's a
you
real
so much.
tombstone
It
somewhere.
is?
I don't know where. It's a real tombstone. It said, I told you I was sick. So
Yeah.
that way, whoever buried that person, that message was for those people that buried him. You know what I mean?
That would be worth buying real estate for. Just that's a clapback and a half,
Just to
isn't it?
see that.
It's very funny. It really rung or struck a chord with me when I did see that. I was like, wow, no
I
joke.
kind of want to put on my tombstone, I told you I'd die. Like I told you I would die.
But
Like
see, that's just it. When you are speaking to someone and they say something, I understand foot and mouth. I understand there's like moments of like, I don't know what to say. These are difficult things, and I will, make the joke. I will stop with it, whatever. But some of these situations are just so out of bounds. You don't know what to even do with them. So now I want to move on to strangers because strangers are funny. Strangers are like, that's kind of an interesting one because, okay, I keep laughing at like my Einstein hair now. That's where we've gotten to. But along the way, I had a lot of fun. I never went completely bald, and obviously you have fun with your hair and your looks and you're very creative type. And I definitely did that. But like when it was pink so much, like little kids are the funny. Like I got so many compliments on, oh my hair was pink a couple different times. And like little kids are like, Mommy, that lady's got pink hair. Just they don't care. They think it's great, like and but then you get, women that are just like, oh my, and my hair's always been kind of the same all these 20 years, and never changed. So I know if somebody were to see me who really knew me, knew I wouldn't have done it. So it would raise the questions, if they cared to ask or not, then, and that would be more hurtful, which would it be? But the other thing that I always get, like if they can tell that I'm in treatment or if somehow it comes up, everybody has a miracle. Everybody. Oh my God. My aunt's second cousin, 3 times removed on my dad's side, took this miracle berry from Brazil. You just got to go get this nut down in Brazil and you just got to take that. You're going to be that's the thing I get most from strangers.
everybody has advice on. Oh Lord, I had a guy tell me to take dog dewormer.
Oh, I take that.
No, it wasn't the one that we're thinking of. That's the good one that actually might work. This was literally like it wasn't ivermectin or whatever. It was something else, and it was like for dogs and only
They
for
tell you to
dogs.
put it in your butt because he might have had something else in mind.
I think it was a suppository.
See, he was up to something bad.
And it was literally for dogs. It wasn't like a human version of a pill that you could take that's a dewormer and that kind of it wasn't that. It
Yeah.
was literally like it was for dogs. And it said dewormer for dogs. And he
Oh
was
wow.
like, no, take this.
I know, but I do. Yeah, I get all that, and it's always something really wild. And I joke about what you're talking about, the real one. I call it the puppy protocol, and I mostly take it because I fight with. It's funny. I always joke about the side effects are never what they tell you. Never hurled on any of my uh, chemo protocols, not once, not a single time. But I always fight with the with the thrush and the candida and stuff like that. So that's why sometimes I call it the puppy protocol, because the
Oh, is that what you call it? Puppy protocol?
I do, because it really works for that. And it's not that exact, but that's why I say, oh no, I take that, and I call it that because I don't know what else to call it, but it works better. And the diflucan will mess up your liver if you take it too long, stuff like that. So
Oh, I did not
yeah.
know that.
Yes, and I don't give medical advice here, but that's where puppy protocol comes from. And there's so much out there about it. And I'm not going to Brazil to get this nut out of a tree or whatever, but I've met some nuts out of a tree, and they always have these advice for it.
No, and then there have been people like, and I get it, acai berry is really good. But I've had a family member say, "Oh, just drink the hell out of this acai berry drink," and I would just be guzzling it. They told my father that. It was before I had cancer. When my dad had cancer, they were like, "Oh, if I were you, I'd be guzzling it by the gallons, and that'll cure the cancer." And I'm like, dude. I mean, it probably does help, but I don't know if it would cure it, And at that point, my dad was stage 4, like way far into stage 4. Come on, So,
I know they
I mean, this
this
isn't the Old Testament, This isn't like like we don't have like singing on the mount.
It was, and that was the other thing
happening these days. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was the thing. It's like, it wasn't even like, I've heard of that one. It wasn't even one I'd heard of. I've heard, some of them are pretty consistent. It was a really wild one. I was like, oh gosh, I need a truffle pig and a this and a that, and I got to go hunt this thing down. I'm like, it was some crazy thing. That was the wildest one I could think of off the top of my head.
Oh my God, got to get some goose feathers and
put them up your butt.
Let's make a witch's brew,
The stuff. Oh my God. It's always some person like down the line, like some.
I know it. There is some stuff that is holistic, or that is the alternative medicine that I am going to give a shot.
Absolutely.
Even though my doctors are like, oh, I haven't heard of that. I don't know. That's not FDA approved. At this point, I'm like, look, I don't care. As long as it doesn't give me bad side effects.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a shot, like the one we were talking about, that's the legit parasite remover or whatever. Yeah.
Like I said, some of these things are just like, they are legit for this, mostly for the side effects, just like, you take Advil for a headache or this, or, same kind of idea, because some things, they just whatever. So, it's kind of like that. But yeah, some of the other stuff is just like, what?
But I'm not going to sit there and drink horse paste. I'm not going to do that.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to. I'm not going to take the animals version and drink that up and hope that it doesn't kill me, because the horse is like 2,500 pounds and I'm 128 pounds. And
well, you said it there. It's like, whatever you're looking into, it's like, check it with whoever your medical oncologist is, or your primary, make sure that you're figuring it out with them, because it's like, you don't know how it's going to mix with everything else, because you've got all this stuff going on already. It's like, don't cause yourself a bigger problem.
Right. Well, I know
expensive. They're very
it is expensive. And I did tell my oncologist, I have 2 oncologists. I have a hematologist oncologist and a gynecologist oncologist, and they work together.
Yeah.
They communicate. And I did tell both of them that there is an alternative type of medicine, like what we were discussing off camera, that I am going to try. Is this going to interfere with Western medicine that they're going to give me? And they were like, oh, I don't know. I'll have to look into it or whatever. I'm like, well, look into it, because I'm going to buy it. So look into it.
Yeah, there you go. That's the way to handle it. Exactly. It's like, and at certain points in, people's journeys, it's like, people get, you never know. That's how I look at it too. Just like, other people have faith and they have this and everybody has something, and it's like, that's where you go. So, but yeah. Okay. So we were talking about, so Coworkers, we're going to get to some of the crazy things that doctors have said too, because there were a few of those.
Oh, too. Yeah. I can't wait till that one.
But before we get there, I want to take a break and talk about. So I want to talk about Friends for a second because this is really where we're gonna watch your art because the art is and it's watchable and it's listenable, and you can find it on YouTube. So we have Mia Carlin's name up here, and she's available on YouTube, and she's in clinical settings as well as in your own settings and your own patient experience. Use whatever creative outlets you have, whatever relationships you have. Expression is a great way to take some of these incidents, I'll just call them, some of these things, and whether you want to express frustration, whether you want to make them funny, whether you want to make them write stories about them or this or whatever you want to do with them. It's important to you know do something with it because it's going to happen. These things are you so the answer is yes, you can say the wrong thing to a cancer patient. Maybe you mean to, maybe you don't. Some of these people are maybe just straight not good people. I don't want to believe that anybody does it intentionally. Some people really are just trying to commiserate. Some people really don't know what to say. I wanted to give a couple of quick solutions before we watch the video too. Just on the things that we've talked about, we're talking about creative arts. There's every type of option there. And then after we watch the video and some of the other things we're going to talk about, I'll give some solutions for where could you find a better answer, because there are ways to, find some good, whether you've got to speak it, whether you've got to type it, whether you don't know what to do at the office or what, because the office is tricky too.
Yeah.
There are things that, guide things a little bit differently. You would hope you would know how to treat your family. I don't feel like that should be rocket surgery, but gee whiz, it certainly seems to be. At least in my world. I hope everybody else has a little bit better experience than I did. I could tell you some doozies. I just shared a couple that were kind of like, whoa. But all you can really do is kind of laugh about them and go, really? Well, I couldn't have even made that one up, and I tend to write stories, for myself, and I do laugh about it because what else can you? Because wow. But what we're going to do now is rock it out with Mia Carlin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up the. This is cool. I'll let her set it up a little bit while I do that. I'm going to let her tell you uh, how she created this and then a little bit of the backstory. But we're going to launch into it. It's called The End, and this is the official video you can find on YouTube by Mia Carlin. And so I'll let you get started while I pull it up.
Okay, thank you. So I was in a dark place this day, and I'm not gonna lie, I had a couple shots when this idea of this song came about. I was up with a friend of mine, having a couple shots, which is rare for me. I actually don't drink, but that night I did have a couple drinks. And a friend of mine had recently passed away. He was one of my best friends, and he was an ex-boyfriend. And I shouted like, oh, I was like, oh man, why did you die, God? Like, I'm coming, dude. I'm coming. I'm next, And I felt to myself, and I was like, I need to write this down, and I need to put this in a song, like what I was literally going through. And the song, I was trying to take some liberties and be a little bit experimental with it. I was trying to sound like the artist Chinchilla in it. I ended up sounding a little more like a female Dracula, so I do apologize. It's a little weird. It's very dark. So, but it is what it is, right? It's how the negativity of feeling the way that you feel when you're faced with a terminal illness can manifest in art sometimes. So.
All right, we'll get started, and we'll stop a little bit here and there and talk about it. And but here we start at the beginning of the end.
Why did you have to die? Hold a spot for me, bro. I'm coming. This cancer man. My days are numbered. I'm coming. Hold my spot.
Why do you want to hold a spot?
So that was what I was referring to, like I was listening to a song, like a God, I can't remember who it was, but it was like an old like 2000s rap song that reminded me of him, and I was like, like I missed him so much, and I was like, why did you have to die, bro? And I was like, you know what? Hold my spot, dude. I'm coming. As I'm like taking the shot, I'm like, I'm coming, dude. Hold my spot. And so that's what that was. And then I decided to write the actual song. That evening, I went and wrote the song and recorded the song. So I was a little tipsy when I recorded the song, but which is why I sound like Dracula, I think. But yeah, I just got real mad and wanted to be real dark and just kind of vomit up those feelings. So it's this next line is about, people, how they bicker and whine about their lives, and they know that you're sitting there with cancer, possibly dying, and all they want to do is bitch and nag about their shit, and you know totally ignore what you're going through, and want you to listen to their shit while you're going through this thing internally. So
Yep. And some days, like you said, some days it's totally fine. And every now and then you just kind of hit the wall. So
yeah,
this apparently was that day, and it turned into some kick-ass art. So here we go.
thanks.
You sit and listen to them bicker and whine about their feeble lives, but you're running out of time. With pitied eyes, they say it's all in your mind as you keep it all inside, explaining's wasting your time. They say you'll beat it again with a tone so smug, a dismissive hand, they sweep it under the rug. Now you shove it down as not to complain. You want no pity from them, although you're writhing in pain.
Okay, so that's a pretty fair statement and a pretty accurate representation of how it's looking in the world and how it's looking on the inside. So we move to the chorus next, right? Do you want to run through the chorus? And then
The one that we just went over, like, they say you'll beat it again with a tone so smug, a dismissive hand, they sweep it under the rug. I wanted to like highlight that because I didn't know if it was very audible with the way I'm singing it. So,
I guess
but
maybe my ears, I hear that.
But it's true. It's like that's what they've been doing lately is like, oh, you'll beat it again. You beat it 3 times already. Oh, you're going to be fine. Oh, just think positive. And it's like, really? Like, it's not like it gets easier every time it comes back. It's not like every time the cancer comes back that the battle is easier. It's harder every time it comes back, guys. Think about what you're saying before you say it to a cancer patient that's had reoccurring cancer, And then the chorus is basically, where can I begin to show them that this might be it? Like, this might be it. This might be the last time you see me, guys. Can I get a friend to acknowledge the end? Like, can I get a friend to acknowledge that I could be nearing the end of my life? Like, just a little bit of empathy there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. People have a hard time with those kinds of jokes or those kinds of, like, I never said anything to anyone that I left town a few years ago, and basically I was doing the farewell tour, and I wasn't telling anybody that that's what I was doing. But I was, but I already, because I kept the pancreatic diagnosis to myself because it was just the whole thing, and it was a whole mess. But to your point, what are you supposed to say? You can't really say it. People kind of wig out about it, hear those words, and then the way everybody else was dealing with it or not dealing with it, doctor's family, right? So you're right. Yeah. And when I hear somebody's got a recurrence that is like that, or like that, I know in my mind, I know enough to go, holy crap, that is not, saying that's not good news. When
Right.
but yeah, I guess other
It,
people would hear it differently. Yes.
it's not so much like what, we don't always we don't always expect you to say the right thing. Really, I don't know, for me, all I need to hear is that, hey, I love you and I'm going to see you through this and I'm not going to leave your side. Or just let me talk about my fear of death. Let me talk about the fact that I'm finally at a place in my life where I'm happy and I'm doing something that I'm happy, which is music. I when I went out on leave, I started doing music as a hobby, and just so I could have something to do and I can do this in the middle of the night when I'm feeling good. And on days that I don't feel good, I don't do it. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
it's not like I do it every day, but it's something that gives me a little bit of sense of purpose, even though I'm on disability.
Oh,
And it's made me happy in my life. And I'm like, finally, I'm happy with where I'm at in my life, even though I'm on disability. I'm doing something that I love. And even if it's just a hobby, even if I'm not making money at it, it doesn't matter. I'm doing something creative. And then all of a sudden I get this cancer diagnosis again. And I'm like, damn it. Like right when I
mm,
started to enjoy my life and feel like I could finally like exhale, this looms over my head again. And it's just, wanting to be able to talk about that with somebody and wanting to be able to express that to someone without them scrambling around for the right thing to say.
mm, that's fair. And you're saying some stuff here because these are not the sorts of songs you hear every day and not the sorts of sentiments you hear every day.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Okay.
So where can I begin to show them this might be it? Can I get a friend to acknowledge me? Can I get an ear for just once to hear my fears? Or wipe away my tears, cause my time is coming. Spent all my childhood fighting for my life.
Okay, and I need to turn on closed captioning. That was me. So I will back this up just a smidge.
Okay.
But you can talk about the chorus. We'll see a chorus again, but and then we'll come back to this part because this is important. But so back to the chorus. Is there anything you want to say about that chorus? Because you're talking about you're wanting someone to acknowledge it because that's really it. Sometimes it's just about I want to say some real messed up stuff out loud right now, and no one can really necessarily relate to it, obviously, unless you're actually going through it. But sitting in a circle of cancer patients in a support group is also different than sitting with the people who really know you, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, there's not so much else to say about the chorus as much because, I explained it earlier, except for that frame that you have it frozen on right there
Mm-hmm.
where I'm standing there. I'm actually, I couldn't, unfortunately, I was using Chat GPT to come up with the images. I was uploading images of myself and instructing it what to do, what I wanted in the image. It wouldn't put my name on the tombstone, but it would let me put my initials. So I'm actually at my own tombstone there.
Chat GPT
So
is only just so dark.
yeah, they won't
Even
let
it
you go as
won't.
dark as you want it to go. But my point is that frame right there is very important. That frame and another frame that you'll see in later on in the video is me at my grave. And that's me looking at my grave like, okay, this is going to happen. I don't know when, but it might happen this year. It might happen in 5 years. If I'm lucky, it'll happen in 10. But this is about that. This is going to happen to me from this diagnosis. And there's a point where I'm putting flowers on my own grave because I'm accepting the fact that I am going to die. So that's what that's about.
Yeah, I've been sitting here going along with this pancreas problem for how many, what? So, what, 8 years now, thinking I've got it all figured out. I know what's going to take me out, blah, blah, blah. And then my boobs came up and bit me in the ass. Like, who saw that
Oh
coming?
God,
Like,
yes.
it's so, I have like the most aggressive kind, so no one even wants to talk about my pancreas now, you know?
Oh no, yeah.
It's
See, and
crazy.
it's hitting you on all ends. It's hitting you from all sides.
And they're the fun sides.
And then the fun side, at least you have a sense of humor about it though, you know,
Oh my
like
God, what would I do without it?
I know, me too. Me too.
Oh
And I
wait, I
mean,
do
and
looking
in
at
a way I
myself
have
from the
a
graveside. No, I'm kidding. No, I do that too sometimes. You have to. I'm just not buying any real estate.
and you
I
know, and I
literally
and
made the lawyer put me in the trash can. He goes, I'm not putting that in your estate. I will not do it. He doesn't.
yeah, and I have a sense of humor about like even this video, which I was really in a dark place when I did this video, but now I look back on it and I'm like, oh God, man, I sound like Count Dracula, and I'm like, like angry, and I'm yelling, and I'm like at my grave. I was like, dang, I'm glad I pulled myself out of that dark spot, because I was in a dark spot, and
Yep.
I did pull myself out of it, thank goodness, but.
Yeah.
It was still part of it. It was still part of me. And like the next verse that you're going to come up to, which you can play it through to the chorus. You can play through the
Okay.
chorus too. The verses that are coming up are me looking back on my life. So there is the first part that you're going to see is me in my childhood, where it says, been fighting for my life, fighting since childhood, for my life, because I was born with a rare blood disease.
Oh.
So I've been battling death since I was born. My blood
Haven't
disease.
we all? Let's get existential here. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. It
But
was
I know
a
what
rare
you mean.
blood
That's pretty
disease. I wasn't
serious.
supposed to live, blah, blah, blah. I was a miracle baby, all this kind of stuff. They put me all over the news for it. So I've always been fighting for my life since I was a child. So that's what that's about. And then it goes into the trauma that I've been through, losing my mom at a young age. And then finally getting my dream coming true of music, and then looking and seeing that my dream is not going to come true with music, because I might die again, because this cancer's back, so it's like that's what I'm trying to set up for the next scene that you're about to see.
Okay. Did you hear yourself say I might die again?
Oh God, I know. I need to stop saying that. I need to stop saying that. I don't want to
Party of one.
I'm just being realistic. I don't know.
I hear you. I'm on third time's a charm. No, that's not when you want to play.
I thought third time was the charm, and now it's back a fourth time. So now I'm like, God,
Okay, let's chuck numerology out the window for today. I know. It's like, what do you do with some of this stuff? It's pretty heavy. And, people who have it worse, people who have it so much better. You can't play competition with this stuff, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
All my childhood fighting for my life, born to die it seems, destiny cuts like a knife. Into adulthood I carried the weight of trauma, death, and the occasional heartbreak. But now it seems as though my days are done. Right when I started to live, my life had just begun. Cool twist of fate is to finally get all that you've ever wanted, then watch it come to an end. So where can I begin to show them this might be it? Can I get a friend to acknowledge the end? Can I get an ear for just once to hear my fears? Or wipe away my tears, 'cause my time is coming. Now's the time.
Okay. Did you want to tee up the next part before we get there?
Yeah. So this is the bridge.
There's the grave and the flowers.
There's me at my grave giving myself some flowers.
Lilies are nice.
The bridge is basically talking about how it's now time for me to close the lid on all my dreams, right? Hard to stay sane as my body wastes away. Optimism erases as I become numb to all that exists, afraid to admit that this is it. So that's what that is.
Here we go.
It seems too close a lid on all my dreams. It's hard to stay sane as my body wastes away. Optimism erases as I become numb to all that exists. Afraid to admit this is it. So where can I begin to show them this might be it? Can I get a friend to acknowledge the end? Can I get an ear or just once to hear my fears? Or wipe away my tears, 'cause my time is coming.
So that happened.
Well, that happened. I actually had somebody on another video, on my red bottom shoes video, somebody actually commented, well, that happened. On that video, I was like, I'm leaving that comment there. I'm not going to delete it. I'm going to leave that comment right there.
It's interesting because now that's been said twice to you. What it says is it's hitting pretty damn close to home. You know what I mean?
You think? Oh, maybe.
I mean, because it's almost the right comment to say versus saying the wrong comment, but don't say that. That's not the comment to make. I'm just saying it's like, because as far as my situation, obviously it's pretty close to home. So,
it's like, well, that happened. Somebody said it.
Oh my God. So I just really appreciate, there's a couple of your songs that really hit pretty close to home for me, and I'm not in front of the camera person, so this is always a challenge. So I really appreciate having Mia in my life, as far as not just a cancer buddy, but also I appreciate her boldness and her getting in front of and really telling it and putting it out there in that way too, because I'm a shy person, a behind the camera person, but also there's so much that I feel like needs to be said. And I'm very blunt, obviously, and I say things that most people are like, oh, I can't believe you just said that in some ways, but it does need to be said. And it's, and me as someone who's more willing to be more open in that way, and obviously with her art too, and that's going to be so helpful to people. And that's why I like having her, like I said, not just in my life, but having her here too. And so hopefully I know we're coming up on the hour, so I want to wrap it up, but I just really appreciate that. And I definitely want to have her back. We have some other things that we're going to cover soon, and they're pretty major topics that people just do not talk about. You're going to be really blown away by some of the things that I'm just really excited that she's here, and I just love that you've been able to join us tonight. The last thing I want to talk about are just we'll leave off with I want to talk about a couple of things. I mean, the doctor things,
Oh.
So some of the things can you say the wrong thing? Yes, you can. So
yes.
I mean, because without too much, I could tell some crazy doctor stories, obviously, but oh my gosh, I don't even know. But just oh gosh, I don't even know. But some of them would even go back to. I mean, I had one. I'll just say this one. I had one having to do with the pancreas diagnosis, who was just like, oh, I had to wait for this appointment. I'd been confirmed by the two big, because I told you about that. I don't believe you. That was this guy. He was, I'll just say, another prestigious institution. What was so funny was I went there because, again, they didn't really want, just like now, they don't really want to deal with it too much. This thing is way more important. In other words, it's going to kill you faster, the breast cancer diagnosis type I have, but this guy was so funny because he was a surgeon. I'll just say that. So, because I've been so willing to take more risks with the surgery on that one, just to, get it more sorted out. And he walked in the room, and he never even took my blood pressure, and said, have you had a psychiatric evaluation? And I was like, what? You know,
What does that have to do with anything?
I don't know. I was so excited to see him. I was so eager, that someone was willing to discuss even a surgical option with this one, because I never want to mess with your pancreas. And I was like, great, so here's this, and this. I laid out my stuff from the other institutions and all this, and he just never even anything. He just said, have you? And I was like, what? It was so bizarre. That was a weird one. So it's almost like on par with I don't believe you, as far as
Yes. Oh my God. And like the thing that I dealt with a psychiatric therapist that I saw. Oh yeah. Yeah. I'll touch on it real quick. I was in therapy. Obviously, you're in therapy when you have cancer. And I was in therapy and I had a therapist tell me, you should go on online dating. And this is while I was going through chemo. Bald, no eyebrows, no eyelashes, no nothing, right? Like bald. Like I look like powder, And she's like, yeah, why not go out on online dating? Oh, get out there and date. And I was like, what? I'm the cancer chick. Nobody wants to date the cancer chick. And she's like, no, do it. So I took her stupid advice and I put something out there on the dating website. And I had like me in different wigs, like different looks, different wigs. And I had this one guy like email me and he was like, are you in the CIA or something? Like, what's up with the different looks?
That is the coolest thing anybody has said to a cancer patient yet. Are you in the CIA? That's the best thing we've heard tonight.
And I went on a couple of dates and I like legit told these guys with my wig on and I'm like, I've got cancer and I'm currently getting chemo. Want to date? Like, how
want
you
to
feel?
do it? Want to see me naked? Want to see me?
Yeah.
I'll try
hey,
not to,
I don't have to
I'll try not
shave.
to hurt.
Like what?
Oh yeah, that's it. Oh yeah, you don't have to shave. You don't have to do anything.
I don't have to shave. Like, what's up, babe? Like, oh my God, it was awful. That was the worst therapist I've had in my whole freaking life. I couldn't believe it.
You feel and look probably the least like yourself, and you probably feel the worst. I don't know. I don't want to say you look the worst, but you probably do. You're kind of the wrong color, the wrong. You're kind of. I always say, like you
look the worst. No, it's okay. You can say it. You look and feel the worst. You're not confident at all.
See how red I am here? Like I was saying, I would look like tricolored pasta because I was so red from the radiation. I'm kind of green from the nausea, and then I'm like
yes. I know, and like I'm all bloated from the chemo and the what do you call it? What are they called? The steroids that they give me, and
oh my God,
that woman, I swear. And then like when they say what not to say to a cancer patient, oh, you look so good, you don't look sick.
Did they say it in that tone of voice?
Yeah,
it was the tone.
Coworkers, friends, like. I mean, I'm not going to come to work with my kiwi bald head. I'm going to wear a wig and like, save you the pain of seeing me with my like peach fuzz, man.
Because it makes everyone else uncomfortable and you're thinking about everyone else because you start to do that so much.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Oh my God, it was terrible. And then like, wow. Oh, the whole you beat it 3 times, you'll beat it again. And oh, just stay positive. You'll be fine.
Wow.
Hands.
Jazz hands. Jazz hands. Also stick
them
them
negative. You'll manifest it.
You can stick them up your butt. And especially the middle. No, I'm kidding. Not your butt.
Oh, this is my favorite. We'll pray that it never comes back. Okay, I'm a woman of faith. Okay, I'm a Christian. My dad, I got my cross. My dad was a preacher. I'm a woman of faith. I get it. I believe in miracles. Miracles have happened to me too. But we'll pray it never comes back. Cancer always comes back.
It's in the outcomes, unfortunately.
Cancer always comes back. It may not come back for 10, 20 years. Most of the time it comes back every 3 to 5 if you have stage 3 ovarian. Just saying.
Blood
So,
cancer tends to do that too. And I was kind of feeling like I'd skated on that one, but no, I just kept ramping up. I was like, let me just ramp it up instead. Let me just ramp it up.
yeah, let's just bring it up a notch, right? I know I thought I was even told by a doctor that after year 5 of being in remission, I'm in the clear. So I hit year 6 and I was like, hell yeah, I ain't gonna get cancer ever again. And then bam, I got
Why'd you say
cancer.
that out loud? It's like, oh no, there's that manifest one. I know we talked about manifest one day. That was
Yeah, I
kind of
like jinxed
funny.
myself. I was like, I'm never gonna get cancer. And then boom, here it
Whoops.
comes.
And on that note, I will say, I don't wish ill on anyone. I never do that. And people are like, how are you that person? I'm like, I don't know. I guess the answer, and so back to the solution part, and I do want to talk about, so the dudes part, the dating part, we are so going to go down this road on the site, just so you know it. Not just about cancer, but about like chronic illness and all this different stuff. There, believe me, there is a long way to go here. It's such a need, and Mia will be on this journey with us for some of these things and some of other issues that just being single and girls, yes, but being single too. But there's definitely stuff to be discussed. But so dudes are something we're going to be talking about also, because it is different. But there's a lot to talk about. So I'm glad that we landed on that. I think it's really important, and sense of humor is very important. There's lots of stuff to discuss, but I want to say also the solutions part. So on that note, while there's literally no actual handbook about what to say or the wrong thing to say or the right thing to say. The main thing is to, you know, the ChatGPT was cool, like how you use that to create the images and make your art happen aside from the writing your lyrics and singing them. Oh my gosh, like I just admire that so much. But also, I found that, even in clinical settings, the chat GPT can help you with things like we used to, you could go to like the internet and like find like how to sign a get well card for like, and then pick your audience, whether it's a family, like, and find phrasing that could help you find something to say if you really didn't know, if you weren't standing in front of the person. We have these phones in our hands. Chat GPT can do it too.
Yes.
He's pretty good at finding things to say or, whatever. And say you're in a job situation or it's your coworker or it's someone that reports to you or someone it's your boss, they can help you craft things to say that are even legally appropriate or whatever the case might be in your different situations, that you can say without, making it a thing. Because there are different issues with PHI and you must respect that, especially if, people everyone has their different things that they want to keep private or whatever. And, sometimes people have to disclose when they don't want to. Hello, you just have to deal with it. Not everybody's a parade person. I get that. But, you have to be a little bit sensitive because this is literally life and death for a lot of folks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that obviously there's HIPAA violations and things like that when you're in the workplace that you've got to be cautious of.
Yeah.
So
you would hope you'd figure it out if it's your family member, because you live with that person. But again, these are the people you spend the most time with. As far as doctors go, they're going to be what they're going to be. Pick who's going to give you the right care and the best care for your situation. And you'll start to do your research, really do it, because you are your own best advocate. And that's really what we're all about here. Figure out your benefits, figure out your plan, figure out what your best options are, navigate from there. And there's so many resources. Here is your best one to start with. It's you. It's got to be
you are your best advocate. You really are.
No one's going to be doing this for you. And honestly, if somebody really is not handling your situation the way that's, best for you, some situations you can't say anything. In some situations you can, ask for what you need, ask for how you'd rather them handle it, or what, something, or make a song, make a painting, make a poem. I don't care, but that these creative arts will actually help, believe it or not. And they will, what does it say? Keep you sane. It will pull you out of the dark places. It may not happen in 5 minutes. It may take 5 hours, it may take 5 days, but there are places, and these will pull some of the stuff out of the places where you're feeling the most frustrated. And this is evidence. And thank you so much for coming on and sharing it with us. This was really cool. And you're really cool. I love your blue hair. I'm so jealous of it. I always want blue hair, but
This is my cancer ribbon color.
Oh, it is? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't even
Yeah,
think
well,
about that.
teal, but the teal kept washing out, so I put a little more vibrant blue in it, but same thing.
I like it. I like it. I like it better, that color, even though, the teal is a cool color also, but I really like that kind of blue, but it's neat. And but thank you for being here. And as everyone knows, I like to say at the end of this, it's time to go out there and get some good medicine and give some good medicine. So
Yes.
yeah.
Thank you
So,
for having me.
oh, you rock so hard. And we'll see you all next time here at Medical Malfunction.
Yes.